This is Dan from Kidesign, and today I will introduce you to some basic features and functions of Autodesk 123D design software. Now, we normally recommend the software for somebody who is a beginner and who wants to learn the basics of CAD design, as it's a really simple interface, and the really nice thing about it is it allows somebody to make very basic designs, but also if you want to move on to the next level up, it does allow some more sophisticated functionality. You can make more precise designs as well. So I would recommend, to get started, to sign in. I would recommend signing in and creating an account, because that way, if you have an online account with Autodesk, you can save all your designs in the cloud. So as we already do, I'm just going to sign in. And then you can decide either to share your designs with other people in terms of them seeing the designs, or you can make them completely private. Now, every new design starts off with this 3D view of a grid. If you want to start a new project, you've got the menu on the left here, which has starting a new project, opening an old one, saving this one to either my projects online or to my computer on the hard drive, exporting, sending to a 3D printing or CNC machine, etc. So a new view will look like this for a new project, and this grid really is, in a way, our limit in which we want to design, and it's got some measurements on the sides as well, which are very useful to keep a sense of proportion and scale of whatever we're doing. Now, to start off, I'd like to show you the basic ways in which you can move around and look at your model from different views. For the sake of this demo, I'll just make a simple cube in the middle. And now if I want to look at this cube from different views, I can either click the right button on my mouse and drag around, which allows me to move literally and see it from any view. I can scroll in and out to zoom, or I can use any of these buttons here on the right to either pan, which is panning the camera, means by dragging and clicking I'm moving the camera view around. Orbit is the same as the right mouse click button. Again, by dragging and rotating I can see it from different views. And zooming, obviously, by dragging and clicking I'm zooming in and out. There's this other useful option called Fit, which allows me to fit the whole model onto the whole screen. So maximize the screen potential and really encapsulate the whole model into the screen view. Now, this thing here is called the view cube, and it allows me to look at the model from different views. Now, the home button is kind of the default view. Then I've got all the left, front, top views, even the edge views, which are very useful if I want to go into details on one side, or if I want to check what the model looks like from a certain view. So if I want to check what it looks like from the top, I can do that through the view cube, and always just click on the home to go back to the default view where we started off. That's about viewing and rotating. Now let's have a look at how do you actually create some simple shapes. Now in 123D you can choose to either start with a 3D shape or to create it yourself starting from a 2D sketch. Let's just look at how you make some simple 3D shapes. You've got the first button here in the top toolbar is for primitive 3D shapes, such as a cube, sphere, cylinder, cone, torus. And if I select one of them, I can create this box, and it's a default size. But what I can do is I can click on a box, and before I place it, as you can see here on the bottom, it's got this new menu where I can specify its size. So I can say length, I want it to be 50 millimeters, width, let's say 20, and height, I want to make it just 10. And when I'm done, I click enter, and it's positioned there. Now again, once it's positioned, I can easily move it just by clicking on it and dragging it around. Or if I want to be more precise and move it only in one axis, I can click on it so that it's highlighted in green, and this new toolbar appears on the bottom. Now what I can do here is I can click on the move, and I've got this new feature come up. Now here I can select only one of the arrows and drag it left, right, front, back, top, button. And what could be useful for this is, say I want to really see how it's placed in the height. I might want to look at it from the front view, and I can see, aha, now it's floating a little bit, so maybe I want to bring it down just a tiny bit, and here I can see that it's snapping onto the grid. Or the opposite, I actually want it to fit on top of this, so I might again keep looking at it from this view. Now it's sunk in, now it's right on top, so I can really be quite specific about that, as sometimes dragging it around could be a bit hard in terms of precision, so maybe you want to use the move toolbar. Same with scaling. If I want to scale this one, now I said I've made it in a default size, I think it should be a bit wider. I select it, click on the scale button. Now if I scale it as it is here with one arrow, it's going to scale it proportionally, meaning it's going to scale it in all three dimensions. But if I change that to non-uniform here, it allows me to scale it in one direction only, or in the other one, or in the other one. So now I can really change the shape of the original box. And the same applies to any other shape as well. Same for the cylinder, etc. Now notice that when you're adding a new 3D shape, it will snap either to the grid, or if you bring it close to the objects that you have, it will snap onto the surfaces there. So as you can see here, it wants to snap it onto the side of this box. Okay, so now I'm going to delete them. I'm going to click my mouse and literally select all of them, and then press backspace or delete on the keyboard to do that. Now if I've done that by mistake, I didn't want to delete it, I can either press Ctrl Z or Command Z, or I have the undo button here, so I can really undo and redo all the options, all the steps that I've done. If I want to start by drawing a more interesting shape from a 2D sketch, I can do that using the sketch button here. Now I can either sketch something from a regular 2D shape, say for example an ellipse. It will ask me which grid, which surface do I want to sketch it on. First I select the surface, then I draw the shape, then I confirm it with the green tick, and now I've got an ellipse. What I can do now is, in the construct button, I have the extrude option, which allows me to select the surface, drag the arrow, and make a 3D shape. Now, if I don't want to use any of the default shapes, I can make my own shape. There's a couple of options here. One is polyline, which is a more straight edge shape. So, for example, I want to create something like this. Click enter to confirm, and again I can extrude that into a 3D shape, and I can do the same but in a more organic, more curved way. Click on the surface which I want to draw on, and now I can make any kind of more curved surfaces, and again the same as the other one, I can extrude it and turn it into a 3D shape. So what can I do with these now that I've made them? I want to make play around with them and do something more interesting. Some simple modifications I've showed you already, where you click on them and you've got moving, scaling, and these things here. But if I want to do more interesting things, I've got the modify button here. It opens a new toolbar with different exciting features. One of them is press and pull. Now what press and pull is similar to extruding. It would allow me to pull out just one surface. So if I want to say pull out just this one here, I can do that. I've selected that surface, and I can pull that one out, which is not moving anything in the back here. It's just pulling out the surface and changing the shape, the 3D shape around it. Another option is tweak. It's similar to the press and pull, but here we're working with just one edge. So let's say now on the same shape here, I want to play with this edge here. I've selected it. I can see with the green highlight that it's selected, and now I can move it, and you can see again how it's changing the whole shape, the whole 3D shape, just by dragging that one edge. And I can move it in any direction, really. Create really interesting shapes this way. A few other features here are fillet and chamfer, which allow me to make rounded or sliced edges. Let's take fillet for a start, and let's say I want to make this edge round. I select the edge, and I can either use this arrow, which it gives me, or I can specify the radius here. So I want to make it 3mm radius. Click enter, and I've got a rounded edge. And to show you how to do the same thing with the chamfer, we'll do it on this one. Select the edge, and now I can drag it and say, I want to, now maybe a bit less. So you can see this same function, well, I mean same purpose, but it's just rounding the edge here, and here it's slicing it. Another useful tool is shell. So I can now, just for the sake of this, I'm going to rotate this one. Remember, move, and I can either move it in a specific direction, and I can rotate it. Let's rotate it 180 degrees. Now you can see I've rotated the 3D shape, but the 2D sketch is still there. I'm going to get rid of the 2D sketches, I don't need it anymore. And now I'm going to shell it, which literally means I'm going to hollow it out. And with, as any other feature, it gives me this little useful arrow to manually specify how much I want to do that. So there we go. These are some of the basic modifications. There's a few other ones into which I won't go now. You can explore them yourself. Now let's just get rid of these. So I'm going to select them again, backspace, delete it, and just show you a couple of other useful ones. So let's take a few basic shapes. Let's take the cylinder and the cube, and let's bring this cylinder a little bit kind of inside of the cube. Now, this feature here allows me to combine them in different ways. I can either merge them and say merge this and this, enter into one shape, and it literally makes one single solid, or I'm going to undo. I can subtract, meaning I want to keep this shape, but I want to carve this one out. Click enter, and as you can see, I've got everything what was there of the cube, but that part where it was intersected. And again, undo for the third option, which is intersect. Click on both of them, click enter, and it only leaves the part in which they were crossing over. This could be really useful when you want to make new shapes, and you can really combine different things. You can hollow out things, make your own shapes, really. Now, I won't go into the details of the other ones. There's a few useful pattern tools here if you want to copy a single object into different linear or circular patterns. If you just simply want to copy an object, you click on it and you press Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V on your keyboard, and then just move the new object in whichever direction. So you've now got two copies. If, again, I want to undo something, it's Ctrl+Z on the keyboard. So you've got all the keyboard shortcuts, and as you'll notice, some of these features here actually have their own keyboard shortcuts. So press and pull is P, tweak is K. So if I click P, I will go directly into the press and pull option. So this is quite useful. Finally, just before we finish, I want to show you how to save your project. I can save to my projects, which means online. it will open a window, ask for the name, ask whether I want to make it public or private. And if I want to export it, so I can save a copy, it gives me this kind of window. And I can export it as an STL, which is what you would want to do if you want to 3D print it. Again, choose the resolution, usually fine. Normally, I would recommend saying combine objects, click OK, and now I can save it as an STL and use it for 3D printing. I think that's it. Really do go and explore some other features of the software. It's got plenty more. As I said, it allows quite a lot of sophisticated designs to be made. Check out what other people have done. It's really cool. Good luck with your designs. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this software will help you become more creative and become a designer. Good luck.